How's it going, y'all? Back with another one. Continuing where we left off in this series of characters that some of my favorites, or some that I just liked over the years. That we have Static Shock, Virgil Hawkins, so I think that was his name. Don't come from, it's been a while since I've seen the show or even picked up the comics, but I remember I was younger and his show used to come on before I had to leave for school, catch the bus in the morning, or just, I don't remember it coming on weekends. It was one of those shows where you had to find on certain channels, and sometimes, okay, if you didn't even have the channel, you had to, like, can you add this to the package? And even then it was just, we can't afford that. But now it's just, you can watch it whenever, wherever. But back then it was just, you was on your own, and if it was like a storyline to it and you just had to catch it when you could and just hope they fill in the details on what happened the episode prior. Like if it was a 2 or 3-parter, it wasn't just with Static Shock, but shows like Batman the Animated Series, so on and so forth. In terms of the characters I like, he's one of my favorites based off of design alone. Like whether it's based off the old series or the current comics that DC's putting out. Like of all the superheroes, especially the teenage superheroes, he always had the sauce. He was always stripped out, whether it was that trench coat or just the simple one piece he had on. It just, and I know there's a thing of like a lot of black superheroes having electricity powers. That's neither here nor there. It's weird, but that there's a pattern of it, but what can you do? At least with him, it was cool. Like back then, I was too young to even think about it, but then you think about all these other heroes, like Storm, Black Lightning, his whole family. And then now you got Miles Morales. He's Spider-Man, but he's also got that electric powers to him. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but when you know it, it's hard not to notice it. But still cool either way. This one was one of the more fun pieces I had fun doing in terms of when it came down to the render, like how I wanted to do his lightning powers. I think the last time I've even drawn a character with electricity or static powers was Cole McGrath from the Infamous series, and I think that was a little over a year ago when I drew him. And I remember I was having trouble with that because I also drew, if you don't know Infamous, I suggest you look into it. It was one of those PlayStation main staples, and originally I think DC approached Sony or whatever about making a Static Shock game, but when that fell through, they decided to make their own original IP, and that's how we got Infamous. But somebody that's more well versed in that just can tell you better than I could. Anyway, when I was doing the rendering for Cole and trying to figure out how I was gonna make the lightning make sense, because in the game it's like 2 different paths you go down, good or evil. And the good path is lightning is like blue, little white, but in the evil path it's lightning is like black and red and just harsher hues. It was fun, but it was also very difficult for me to do at the time. And now I wouldn't say this one was easier, but it was more experimental. Like I was doing some research throughout Pinterest, gathering references, see how other artists do their lightning. And essentially I settled on a technique, or rather just a way of doing it that is in keeping with my style, but also a little experimental, at least I think, where it's just mostly working with brighter hues of white and just drawing over the line art and making little subtle changes around the folds and the like the bends in his fingers and his hands, the way you can see a little bit of definition, but also like it's coming out, so to speak, if I'm making any sense. I mean, shit, you see it, like what I'm doing. I'm not the best when it comes to like teaching, but you see me playing around with layers in Procreate. I want to see if I can replicate this in Clip Studio with the way I do things in there. But essentially, I'm trying to push and pull with the lighting around his arms, mainly playing with Gaussian blur and just making sure it makes sense, but also the background that I set in place. It was the background itself I did mostly off screen. I was following a tutorial and just I like it for what it is, but I could probably do some more practice and studies. I want to get back into doing more detailed character environments because I got my own comic and stories to tell, and I want to make something grandiose. Like, we're all artists, and the things that we imagine, we want to bring them to life. Eventually put it to paper, put it to tablet, or however, whatever your medium is. As long as you do it by hand, is not having fuck ass AI do it for you. Can I say that on here? Yeah, who cares? If you hear it, you hear it, and you know what I mean. But we're near the end of this one. As always, thank you all for watching. We got one more to go, and then it's back to some more our regular schedule program. OC work, Celeste, Helios. But that's it. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. And as always, stay riding. Peace.